Are you asking me what it is? Sure. Oh, okay, yeah. We're going to start Paul Skeens tomorrow, Riley Cooper on Saturday, and Chase Shores on Sunday.
What have you seen in Chase that gives you confidence?
It's special, dude. I think it's the talent is the talent. 6'9", a lot taller than me. Fastball's up to upper 90s, movement, out pitches, but it's the poise and the competitiveness is far beyond his years. I think he's the one guy that luckily for us professional baseball missed on maybe his value in the draft, and he's ready, and he's proved it since let's just call it October 10th or whatever the first time he threw in a scrimmage is.
Your willingness to share this information is a little different from last year. Does that speak to your confidence in the entire staff?
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you look at things, there's a lot more that goes into it than just, hey, this is what this guy should do or should be. What we need to do is, what myself and Coach Wes Johnson, relative to the pitching, that's our job. And so when I look at all scenarios, both bad in the immediate, good in the immediate, good in the long term, bad, you want to be prepared for everything, and there's just more than one guy that can get the job done. I think this one is pretty simple. I think Paul is one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in college baseball. I think Riley and Chase have been the two best performers from October 10th till this last weekend of inter squads, and it's really not close. And then the other thing it also does is, with Grant's injury, it allows us to set things up a little bit differently. And you want to build confidence in your team, and the best way I've found to do that is to win close games. And when you look at having guys like Ty Floyd, he started in a regional, in the winners bracket last year. He pitched really well in the SEC tournament against Tennessee. He pitched really well against Vanderbilt. He pitched really well against Ole Miss in that rain game that we had. So, if you're in a tight game early, it's a really good guy to be able to go to. And, with Hurd, you have the breaking ball ability, obviously, those types of things, strikeout potential. You got a guy like Bryce Collins at the back. And then the left-handed piece, you have a Nate Ackenhausen sitting there that, he can do a lot of things that Riley does. And, this dude's ready. I can't wait to put him in the game. Griffin Herring, I thought threw the ball really, really well on Monday. And then I think, the rest of the staff, there's been a lot of improvement of guys from last year that were maybe a little limited in what they could do. And some of it's time. Development happens at different times for guys. Some of it's experience, some of it's Wes Johnson, So you put all those things together. I like where we're at. I like how we're setting it up. Might look different next weekend.
Was it a goal of yours to get a lefty in the starting rotation?
Augie Garrido, I got to spend some time with him, said, you have to build your teams around left-handed hitting and left-handed pitching. And he's obviously one of the greatest coaches of all time, and that stuck with me. And I'm talking about as a 24-year-old coach. And so, I guess. I think the better teams that I've had, you've had left-handed starters. 2015 at Nevada, 2016, 2017 at Arizona, 2021 at Arizona. There's an element to that. I think, in Riley's case, it just throws all his pitches for strikes. And the other thing you want to pay attention to early on is, this is a cool deal we have here. And, our guys, going to have control of themselves. And, the guy pitched with the game on the line like 25 times last year. So he'll be good. He'll be ready.
Is Thatcher Hurd kind of on the cusp?
Oh, yeah, for sure. As a matter of fact, I'd go as far as saying for us to be the best team that we need to be, then, he needs to figure into that starting mix. And that probably will help. And he's there. And, frankly, development, the things that you guys don't see on a daily basis, like we needed to do something with him this week that didn't allow him to pitch on, let's say, Saturday, because he needs to get better. And he knows that. And, that is a bigger, longer term thought, and if the question is, do I think he's going to start games and significant games this year, the answer is yes.
In regards to
the field, just how much rotation subbing do you expect to do in the early part of this season?
One game at a time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and one game at a time. And we're not trying things out. We're doing things in the context of winning that day, and then hopefully we play well enough that it allows for some of those opportunities. I mean, 2 years ago, team went to Omaha and we split 4 games with a team from this exact same conference that we're playing, and that was a really good team and a really good pitching staff. And just because people didn't know the name on the front of their jersey as well, like winning Division I baseball games, you have to do things right. And so, it's one game at a time. With that being said, there's more than 9 good position players, as we all know. There's more than 3 good pitchers, as we all know, and guys are going to be put in spots. And then the goal is to have success, and then we'll kind of not figure it out, but we'll figure out what our best team looks like as we're doing that.
Is there anybody outside of Grant that maybe you don't expect to play much this weekend in terms of injuries or anything?
No, I think we're pretty good. I mean, I think we're on the position player side, we're loaded for bear as far as health and all that. And pitching wise, like I said, we're setting some guys' schedules up to get them better as the year goes along.
Is Javen going to be available anytime
No,
this season?
he's not available anytime soon. I don't know about this season, but he's available to play. He'll be on the roster, but I mean, I thought maybe we were a little closer, than we were. But just like all of them, we got to take care of him, and he'll pitch when he's ready to pitch.
second base cleared up at all? Please?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think I feel good about all of those guys. I think they know what they do well, and I think they have good faith in us to put them in the right position for their skills to come out at the time of the game that we need them to come out. Pitching matchups as far as who we're facing, we'll make a determination on that. Who we're pitching, we'll make a determination on that, beginning of the game, end of the game. So I just have good confidence in all those guys that we talked about a few weeks ago. That's probably that one, left field, DH. I mean, those are the ones that you'll probably see the most, mixing and matching with.
And their defense is even enough that the offense would play?
I wouldn't say it's even. I wouldn't say that. I think Ben Napolt's the best defender. I think that Jack is a good defender over there. I think Gavin's improved as a defender. I mean, we worked really hard. I mean, we're out there together every single day. One-on-one. Improving that, and he had a nice set of at bats last weekend, which is great to see, just because you didn't know how it would go. So he's going to play. So, those 3 guys are going to play, and then Gavin Guidry, I think, is going to be a great player here too. And I want to get him in, when we can. Get him in. We're also moving towards getting him back on the mound as a pitcher, and we got to do that in due time and build him up correctly, and so we have a good plan for that also.
It was your decision, obviously, to play the game at 3 tomorrow instead of 6:30, and what kind of went into that?
My job is simple. What's best for our program? And that's where I have to make decisions. What's best for our program? What's best for the players in our program? And have really good resources here. I mean, I trust Bill Frankus as much as I trust anybody at LSU, and have seen a lot of LSU baseball games. And so, talk with him, talk with Scott Woodward, talk with Dan Gaston. Really good administration. And ultimately, we decided this was best. If it disrupts anybody's travel plans of getting here or game time, I really apologize about that. But, my job is to do what's best for the players and best for the program, to the point where I even thought about maybe we'll just make opening day from this point forward. And we'll, send out permission slips for everybody to miss work and to live in Baton Rouge and do that. But,
Riley's a guy that we probably didn't do enough talking about in the preseason. He was so critical and versatile for you last year. What have you seen in him? How do you want to use him this year? What are his thoughts of not having to be the guy to come in all the time?
Yeah, I mean, he's a winner. I mean, this thing comes down in my chair to trust. And, do I trust you to, be yourself, focus on your training and execute. And I trust him as much as any pitcher I've ever had, whether that be to start out of the bullpen. And, I think that's very indicative of how we used him last year. I mean, I could point to tipping point moments in our season where he was on the mound and we won because of his performance. And then the year before, I mean, we were in a hole, in game 1 of a regional in 2021, and he came in and leveled the game and we won. And game 1 of the super regional, same thing, came in, got the win in that game and pitched in Omaha game 1. And he was himself. And then in all those spots last year, a lot of them come to mind. Whether it was, the regional SEC tournament. We actually had a chance to win that first championship game because he came in and stopped the bleeding a little bit. We just couldn't quite get enough offense going. So just trust he'll be good with that, and might keep going as a starter, might use him to close, might use him to match up. Like, guy's just going to affect winning like he always does.
And you have confidence that he can last for 5-6 innings and as
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the last 3 weeks, last 5 weeks plus the fall, about as impressive as you could ask for. It's really tough to deal with. So, yeah.
Who's going to start at catcher?
Multiple guys. Yeah, not at the same time, obviously, but I can get behind announcing pitchers, but we're not going to print out the lineup for everybody.
Jay, you talk about dealing with one day at a time.
Yeah.
But you can't be around here and not see the banners, the flags,
Yeah.
the billboards, and everything with all the history of the program. How do you want this team to, make that part of the mix or not with what they're trying to do this year when you're starting number 1 and there's such high expectations?
I think all of them came here to have an opportunity to do those types of things. Get into Omaha's special. Competing for a championship special. Being in the NCAA tournament's a good accomplishment. Nowadays. So, I think we just on the inside know the difficulty of what that really means and how to do that, and so they have to focus on how we do those things. And that is a very coach speak, one day at a time, very mundane type deal. Their job is to be incredibly prepared and focus on doing their job well to help the team win. I try as a leader to outline that job and then train them in a way that it'll carry over to the game. And I have a lot of faith in that. And I think the player leadership piece is much better, where, last year it was me setting a lot of expectations. And trust me, our whole coaching staff is still doing that. But I think the players would tell you that they're doing that at a much higher level. And gets you excited for sure, because that can be really powerful.
Do you know for sure if anybody might be redshirting this year yet?
Just those medical guys that we talked
Okay.
about, yeah.
What kind of benefits does having guys like Dylan and Gavin and Cade, guys who have been through the SEC a number of times, Trey, of course, in that conversation as well, do for a lot of the new pieces that you guys have brought in, and just kind of how they approached the younger guys and their messaging there?
Yeah, huge. In each of their own ways. You said Dylan. He's the best player in the country. He's the best worker. He's the best teammate. He's the most mentally solid. And so setting that example just by how he does his deal is really impressive. But then he uses his voice too. And there's not one guy in the program that's not going to move in the direction that Dylan Cruz would want them to, because he's commanded the respect of that. And so that's kind of his way. Gavin Dugas, really a lot of injury adversity. And, massive hat tip to him to get him ready to go and contribute. Really good last couple weeks, particularly this week. Matter of fact, I would say it's better than at any point that I saw out of him last year in terms of quality at bats. So perseverance, And then Cade Beloso, one of my coaching mentors, sent a video of him talking, I think it was to you, Michael. And, you heard, I'm sure you guys all saw that, like, how impressive is that guy? Well, when you know him, that's exactly who he is, Needs of the team above his own. Great example. Hey, I'll be ready when my number is called upon. And it's going to be called upon. He's had a really good lead up to the season as well. So, there's just three guys, three really good examples. And then the goal is to have everybody positively affecting each other, and those guys are right at the forefront of that. So thanks for that question. I like talking about that.
I was going to ask you about Dugas, because 2 years ago he had 19 home runs, right? Not to put the pressure on him to do that again, but it could be closer to that maybe this year.
Yeah, I think early returns, are good. He was not having a good fall, like 2 for 30 and a bunch of strikeouts. And I finally just said, hey, man, we need to get your eyes checked. Like, you're swinging and missing by that much. And I'll let him explain it. Like, I still can't explain it and understand it, but he had this eye procedure. And then we had a setback with it. And, it was just like, hey, man, we just got to keep going. There's nothing we can do about it other than just keep going. And our trainer, Josh Walker, did a really good job with this, like, a special contact. And not only is he needed to do it so he could see, like, he wouldn't lose his vision permanently. And then it turned into, hey, we're picking the ball up better. And when he's doing that, he can do some serious damage. And really like the at-bats that he took, and just the impact that can have on our team is great. He's going to be involved in what we're doing heavily.
When he put that one off the scoreboard first at bat the other day.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, and he was better this last weekend, because that first weekend it was almost like, okay, got one, and then it was still a transition weekend back to hitting, and then this week he put together really good at-bats, and that can help the other pieces of guys in the lineup in a big way, and so that's a nice lift for our team.
Maybe 2 more questions, guys. Outfield, you said left is a question mark.
I just think you'll see multiple guys go through there. Dylan's going to play center. Paxton Kling's the leader in right, but some guys are going to play right too. Also, in left, Braden Jobert had a really good preseason. Now he had 18 homers too last year. It's just the at bats between the 18 homers needed to be a lot better, and we talked about that. He went to work on it. There's some real specific pieces of that he went to work on. Improved as a defender. His body's in really good shape. He ran a 4.25 down the line the other day, which we have a saying. If you're 4.3 or under, you got a chance to play pro ball. If you're 4.4, you're going to grad school. So he moved out of grad school territory there. So really pleased with him. We like Josh Pearson, obviously. I trust Josh Pearson. About a week ago, I went through and looked at some games for last year for a couple different things, and he didn't have as good a lead up to the season, but we know the types of at bats he can take. And there's Dugas can obviously go out there, so we have options, and that's a really good thing.
Just kind of that left-right matchup. Now you have options at the plate that you could, what you're facing. You've got some guys that can do different things at the spots. A versatility that you didn't have in the past.
Yeah, I think so. Offensively, we were pretty good last year. Like, there's not a lot to pick back at and go, man, I wish we were this or that. But now there's more things that go into it. What type of pitcher do they have success against? Who are we pitching? Some guys that are on our staff, the outfield defense becomes more important. Some guys, the infield defense becomes more important. So all of that will work into it, but you're right. It's good to have some versatility. Makes it a little more time-consuming in a good way on my side to work to get it right. But I think the other thing I would say about that is I met with every player for like 5 minutes this week just to touch base on where are we today. And the position players in particular all understand, like, hey, this is going to be a little bit different. You know what I mean? Where I may have a slot or a sweet spot, and then it'll kind of sort itself out. But why not, keep using those sweet spots, especially if you do your work, your homework, and, help guy develop a skill that can help him in a certain spot. And I really want to commend those guys for at least going into this thing. The maturity is really, really good. They deserve a lot of credit for that.
In terms of sweet spots, do you mean like situations?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Start against a certain type of pitcher. Start and play defense. Because of the pitcher we're throwing. Pinch hitter. Run a leadoff at bat. Guy that's really good with guys on base. It's like I think about a guy like Cade Beloso. I mean, guy takes a quality at bat and can start an inning. You also like him coming up with runners on base because he's going to move the ball forward. So those types of things, and I'm excited to let some of that go.
Can we expect maybe some more aggressive base running, like stealing bases this year? I know you said you wanted to add that element of athleticism last year.
If it's the right thing to do in the game. I mean, bottom line is runs. That is the bottom line, end of story. There's a lot of programs that hang their hat on stealing 100 bases. If stealing 100 bases helps us win the national championship, we'll try to steal 100 bases. If it doesn't, we won't. And, when you look at last year's team and talking about the offense, I mean, you had the first hitter, or I think the first college player taken in the draft that hit 400 in the SEC. I don't think many people in recent memory have hit 400 in the SEC. You got Dylan as the best player in college baseball. I love Cade Doty. Tyler McManus hit like 10 bombs in SEC games last year. So what's the risk reward? So if there's a window and we're going to be safe, we're going to go. Like attempts low, percentage was very high. The times we actually got thrown out last year was a guy trying to advance on a ball in the dirt. I think when we actually called a steal, we were like 22 for 24. So we don't want to give the pitcher any outs when they have to go through these types of hitters. Trust me, I built my career on offense, like bunting, stealing, and doing all those types of things. But, you never want to undermine your talent. And all that stuff matters, So hope so. I mean, and if there's more numbers up there, it means we think we have a better chance of being safe. And there's some guys that can run, but we want to make sure those hitters that you guys all know about get their fifth bite at the apple late in the game.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys, we have